Saturdays are always made better when you make memories like this.
There is McLaughlin, who has to go back to Bishop from Bishop's bowl out. Bishop this time clears it with his right boot up towards Longstaff. Flicked on by the Bradford man, and now Rhys Oates has found a pocket of space. Oates to the right of the box. Can he cut it back? Here's Rhys Oates left for a shot, and it's in! It's a great strike by Rhys Oates, and on 43 minutes, it's Bradford City 0, Mansfield Town 1, and that, Jason Law, is what Rhys Oates does best.
What a finish there by Oates. He's stuck it top bins. Stags are leading. What more could you want?
McLaughlin on the left-hand side, ball in towards the middle, it's taken well by Quinn. Back to Murphy, who hits it, force range, now Longstaff, and it's gone in! It's over the line! And Matty Longstaff has put Mansfield Town 2 goals to the gun! It's his first goal in Stags colours on 48 minutes! He stems the Stags fans into absolute pandemonium. Bradford City 0, Mansfield Town 2.
Great finish there by Matty. I mean, bit of a deflection, but great. Started off great play down the left. Mako and Murphy played the ball into the box. Quinny's got it. He's set Murph. Murph's had a shot deflected, fell to Matty, and he slotted it in. Great finish, and 2-0 to the Stags. Got that second goal that we needed.
Those two strikes secured all 3 points for Nigel Clough's men and kept them within the promotion hunt. The next month, though, is critical for the Stags, with games coming thick and fast, starting with 2 Friday night fixtures against 2 promotion rivals. First up is a home game with Exeter City, just a point ahead of the Stags in 4th, for a trip to 3rd place Tranmere. Oh, how the league landscape could change over the next fortnight. As always though, we can't afford to get too far ahead of ourselves, and tonight we'll be trying to stay grounded as we reflect on the trip to Bradford and take a look ahead to Friday night under the One Call Stadium lights. As always, come and have your say on your team. This is the show for the fans, by the fans. This is the Mansfield Matters podcast. "13 games unbeaten in Sky Bet League 2, not conceding from open play in around 6 games now. It's a really good time to be a Mansfield Town fan, especially with the next 2 fixtures against our promotion rivals. What better time, as I say, to be a Stag. A 2-0 win at Bradford City on Saturday in front of over 2,000 Stags fans, making yet more memories. We're here tonight to look back on that fixture and look ahead to a massive March. A big, big month of fixtures. The fixtures coming thick and fast. A month which could propel the Stags into the top 3. Who'd have thought that all those months ago when the Stags couldn't buy a win for the sake of a Mars bar? Joining me, as always, to discuss all things Mansfield Town and to delve into your comments and questions, as ever, we've got Accident Pro now. Good evening.
Good evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody.
And we've got Clive. Take that, Mark Hughes Parking. Good evening.
Hello, chaps.
How are you? Are you well? Are you all well?
Yes, thank you. Are
Really
you?
good, thanks.
I'm jolly good after Saturday's result. Clive, you were in amongst it with the fans. You know what? It was fantastic to see so many people packed in behind the goal and to the side of the pitch. For me, I could not see a single empty seat.
No, I was at the side, and there was a point where there were too many fans trying to get in. And in fact, the load of them ended up standing in the passageway, which is not desirable. The stewards were particularly inept, I have to say. But you'd have thought they'd been a little bit better equipped to deal with large away support there. But it all went fairly well. There was nobody falling out too much. We had I had 4 people in front of me, 2 couples who'd obviously been on the pop all day, and they were very embarrassing at one point. But apart from that, everybody had a great time, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
I feel a little bit sorry for Accident Pro now, because he's the only one out of the 3 of us that missed it.
Yeah, well, sometimes you can't get to everyone. Other things take precedent, Craig, and I was babysitting. So there you go. But you really enjoyed it, might I add.
Well, absolutely. And, you were watching the scores come through social media, having a little listen to the radio where you could as well. First and foremost, to those that did listen on Saturday, I'd like to issue one final apology of the poor sound, because like many of people have commented on social media this week, the facilities at Bradford made broadcasting an absolute nightmare. So it was not the greatest of afternoons. We ended up using Skype, which is never good for a football commentary. Well, there's one more person to talk all things Mansfield Town and to reflect on Bradford as well. We didn't think he was turning up tonight, but here he is. He's changed his name. His name is now Mark Who, and he's Nathan Edge. Good evening.
Evening. Connection issues, so apologies if I'm delayed right now. But yeah, I'm here eventually.
Have you got a 5-second delay on your signal?
I think there always is with Nathan. There's a hamster in a wheel somewhere. A hamster in a wheel. Are you feeling better? This is we've not spoke for a while. Are you feeling any better than what you were the other week?
No, not really.
All right, I'll leave it at that then.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. Did 3 points by any chance, make it better for a little part, or are we just fast asleep with man flu? There's a definite delay. Nathan has definitely got a delay somewhere. He's definitely delay. Let's move back to.
Oh, he's got
it. That's it. Yeah, he'll have changed his Wi-Fi. He'll have changed his Wi-Fi settings over. There he is. He's back now.
Right, we'll see if this is any better. But...
You've changed your phone, haven't you, again?
Right. What were you saying? I do apologise.
I was saying.
Yeah, because the other internet was just stupid.
Yeah, I thought that might be the case. I was saying, did 3 points cheer you up, not even for a little while, or are you so bad on man flu, are you going to get the violins out?
No, Saturday was. I know it didn't end up going, but I thought I'm gonna go and brave the elements, and I'm glad I did, because it was. It would have been another one of them days. Obviously, it wasn't quite Doncaster, but obviously I'm still fuming about missing that one. So I thought, just in case it's a bit of a replay, of that, I'm not missing it. So I dosed up on all the tablets I could that morning and enjoyed myself along, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. Get involved in the comments as well and have your say on your team. Let us know your thoughts on that result at Bradford as well. Lots of you already getting in touch tonight. Keep those comments coming. Stag Chat kicks us off saying the support at the moment is absolutely fantastic. And do you know what, Alan? I think that's a very, very good point to make. Stephen McLaughlin sort of mentioned it a little bit earlier on in his press conference today. The support at the moment is absolutely second to none. We were saying about, trying to perform on the pitch as good as we do at home. Well, when you've got the crowds backing you away from home, it's very easy to do that. Well,
like he said in his interview, and Nigel included it in his interview as well, that they're just very, very pleased. And, they're all very grateful. All the players are very grateful to hear that 12th man, as it were, because, like he said, sometimes, like Matty Longstaff said, 80 minutes, you're dead on your feet. You really can't do it a lot more, but it says it's just fantastic to hear them roaring and shouting and bellowing and everything, hearing his name. Even Macca, when he takes a throw in, it says, even the little children are shouting Macca and whatever. It must be fantastic, Craig, to be a player and to listen to that at the one call or wherever they're playing.
I have to admit, when it comes through the headphones, when you're listening to it, it does send a chill down your spine. I do miss it. I am missing actually being involved in that in some way, shape or form. But I'm just actually glad to be able to deliver it to those who can't get there on a match day at the minute and make sure their experiences keep coming. But again, Clive, it just shows, doesn't it? Obviously Bradford, you're always going to get the extended numbers a little bit, but also with the run that we're on, we could have gone to Exeter on Saturday or the furthest away game you can think of, and we'd have still took a really, really good following because we've just got that bounce and vibrance about us at the minute as a club.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all coming together, and obviously Bradford, in the context of away matches in League Two, is a bit of a local derby for us, really. And of course, it's a big ground, and a lot of people may not have been there before, so lots of attractions for making the journey. The Bradford City fans on their forums are very complimentary about Stag support, and the team for that matter. They were very balanced in their views, and that's quite refreshing to see and read.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry,
go on.
Did you notice? I noticed the daftest things at football matches. They've got that flexible tunnel thing they bring out when the players are coming out, and they brought it out, and the players came down the steps, so nobody came out of the tunnel, and they pushed it back in again. And at half time, they brought it out for the players to go in, and they went back up the steps. And then the second half, they brought it out again for the team to come out, and the photographer came out of it, and the players came down the steps. And I'm thinking, why are you bothering?
It's a very, very strange setup. I mean, I made my exit from the ground on Saturday through the building. I think I must have gone up about 10 flights of stairs to get back up to street level. And I always fear that players are going to slip down those steps when they're coming down the boots, because they're very narrow steps as well, which is quite a fun one. Chris says, what did it sound like from the other side of the pitch, Craig, in terms of the atmosphere? Fantastic again. There was a real fear for me actually before the game going into it. And I mentioned this, a Bradford fan asked me to do some Twitter Spaces comment with him the other night. I never heard of Twitter Spaces until that happened. Don't worry, we're not switching podcast platforms because it was sketchy at best. We're talking about that, and he was saying about there's going to be an increased Bradford footfall because of the new manager bounce and all of that sort of stuff. And I feared us sort of getting drowned out a little bit when you compare, they must have been, 14,000 to our 2,000 or whatever. But you could hear the Stags fans all throughout. And in the home end at times, you could certainly hear a pin drop, Nathan. I think that, again, says a lot about what Nigel Clough's boys are doing on the pitch to silence home crowds.
Yeah, they had sort of for the first 10, 15 minutes, you got a lot of Mark Hughes or Mark who? What? Barmy Army going in for the first sort of 10 minutes. But as soon as we got a foothold in the game, it did sort of quieten them down. But I think we owe a lot to Rhys Oates, because he dealt the real sucker blow, didn't he? Right before half time, perfect time for us to get a goal. And we, I think we were going in the half time relatively happy anyway. We played well, deserved the lead, so it came at the perfect time. But then to come out and I think get one so early through Matty as well. I wouldn't say killed the game, because obviously, like Clough said, that and thanks to Bishop pulling off a couple of saves, but it only takes 1 minute for them to get back in it. But it near enough killed the game for us, and I think that was the most important thing, the timing of the two goals.
Yeah, in terms of that, Alan, you can't really pick two more of a better time slots to actually score a goal. It was pretty much a couple of minutes either side of the half-time whistle. And like we say, every time we went forward, Bradford fans just seemed to be absolutely deflated. And in hindsight, if we'd have got a third, I think there might have been a few more early exits. And what was funny for me was hearing the Stags fans singing "You're getting sacked in the morning."
Yeah, that was quite funny. That was. But harping back to Rhys Oates, when he put it away, weren't that a nice, cool finish? I mean, he went through and he just took it onto his right foot as if he was going to jinx it, just dropped onto his left, looked up, bang, top bin, like Jason said. It was absolutely spot on. And the second one, bit scrappy, but you'll take anything, won't you, in this game? 2-0, and I think the game was ours. We had a few eerie moments, but on the whole, I thought Rawson, from the sound of the match, was the man of the match, because he kept Cookie in his pocket.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to ask Clive, do you think Rawson found Cookie in his pocket when he was searching for his car keys after the game?
Well, you've both taken the words out of my mouth. I mean, he wasn't the man of the match in my book, but he was certainly a credit to the team, and their only threat of us at striker was Cook, and he got him completely on a leash. He never beat him the once, and he looked really composed as well. I think that position is his to keep now if he plays like that.
It is, and I think Clough will know that and recognise that as well. I think the only debate, Alan, will be, and I don't think it's much of a debate either. I think as soon as there is another centre half available, Hewitt will definitely move back to right back. Aikens had a great game there, but Clough will definitely want to utilise him in other areas rather than playing at right back or left back.
But he did say, if you remember, at the Newport interview, he said now that they've been foolish of what they did, excuse me, and if they carry on with the team, if they get 2 clean sheets, he says they'll keep the place. I admit, I understand that, JJ will probably drop in, and who knows, he might put Hawkins up front. But he did say that if there's 2 clean sheets or if they win both games, they won't be losing the place. So it will be interesting to see if he keeps his word.
I think he will, Nathan, because we know that Rawson was having a decent run in the side anyway until he got suspended himself and what have you, and they were sort of mixing things up between it being Rawson and Hawkins, Rawson and JJ at the back. So I think he'll definitely keep his place. And do you know what? I think it'd be absolutely right to do so, because if we'd have had these two suspensions back in sort of September, October time, we'd have been in a completely different state. It shows how strong we are now as a squad.
Yeah, and don't forget we've got James Purchase out on the bench as well. So hopefully he'll start getting back in amongst it again soon. Now he's made his return again. So the blessing is like we say, we probably expect John Joe to go straight back in there. Obviously it'll be Hawkins first because he's only got the 2-match ban. But the blessing is both of those players. That's not their natural position. So you've got JJ, who obviously can go into midfield where needed, and obviously Hawkins is naturally a striker. So even if they don't necessarily start back there, there's always that chance they'll be starting somewhere else on the pitch, which actually that makes everybody else in those other positions also need to keep on their game, because the minutes their performance drops, you've got a very strong bench there waiting to get their chance, like Rawson did for his on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep your comments coming in. Chris says Oates is the one-man goal of the season competition. Paul says, if you guys want something else to smile about, I have a friend who's a Lincoln fan and they're all worrying about relegation to League Two. Nice to see them struggling after a couple of years of success. It all comes to those who wait. Back to Rhys Oates though, Clive, and I think it just shows the type of player he is. We definitely missed him at Newport, and we miss him when he's not in this side. And there will be games, especially in this next month, where he probably won't play as much or be on the pitch for as long. But he's such a good player, and he reads the game superbly well, because the assist comes from their defender, who gets a terrible flick on, and he just reads where the ball is going so well, and then he'd made his mind up, I think, as soon as the ball was flicked on about what he was going to do. There was no danger of him squaring it. I think he was always going to drop his shoulder and try and test the keeper, because everybody in the ground, me included, was expecting him to square it.
Who was it? Who would you have expected him to square it to, though? Because he made a fast break from defence, from midfield, hadn't he?
I think Murphy was the highest. I think Murphy was up with him, but again,
he clearly did exactly the right thing. And what I really liked about him is he didn't panic, and he actually slowed the whole thing down before he shot, which is, a lot of players don't do that because they're under, the adrenaline's well in, and all they can think about is giving it everything they've got. But he was careful. He picked his spot and he delivered it. We were saying at the Newport game, what we're missing is a finisher. Well, Oates is more than a finisher, isn't he? He's a creator. I mean, with his pace, he creates space for himself. And that goal is another example of that. Obviously, we've got the other contender for goal of the month, where he ran from inside our own half to having been avoided 3 attempted fouls, and he got it, unleashed an unstoppable shot. And I think both of those are actually just individualized goals. They're nothing to do with creative build-up. But if we got somebody who could just tap it in the other day, we'd have scored against Newport. And I'm just wondering where that player is. If it's not going to be Oates, and it could be, of course, it depends how we play how we set the team up. But if who would it be? I mean, Danny's the obvious choice there. I feel a little bit sorry for Danny. I feel a bit sorry for Jordan Bowery as well, because just being nudged aside slightly at the moment, and he's done nothing to warrant that.
No, he hasn't. I completely agree. He was voted Fans Player of the Month, wasn't he, for January? We'll come on to the February one later on. We'll talk a little bit about Ryan Stirk as well. Mark's just left a good comment. But I want to stay with this for a second, Nate. We were talking, obviously, we were looking at potentially Danny Johnson and things like that as well, coming in, and Oates being that sort of player. But I find it quite interesting that Clough has said in his interview a couple of times, he said it to me on Saturday, he said it today as well to Jake in the iFollow interview, that Murphy's not hit the ground running yet from Clough standards. I mean, I've been quite relatively impressed with his pace and his movement, but if Clough's saying that there's more to come from him, then I think we could have a really, really good player on our hands, because he adds that third dimension to our movement down the left-hand side. We're so used to just seeing it being between Quinn and McLaughlin. But when you add Murphy in there as well, it just stretches it that extra 10%, and we create so much more. So if there's more to come from him, then I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I don't think he's been too bad either. Like, he's not been bad. I think he's been quite tidy. And I think it was a bit like sort of Oates at the start of the season. Took a bit of time to settle in, and I don't think there's anything different with him really. So, like you say, if there's more to come from him, then that's going to be superb. You can say the same with Akins. I think he's been consistently good, but you probably still is more to come from him as well. So it's going to be tough for the likes of Danny on the bench, and like I say, and Bowery as well. You might feel a bit hard done by with how he was performing, but I think their time will come as well. I think there's going to be opportunities. My concern at the moment is I don't know whether it's some of its mind games. I don't think it is, because he did miss Newport, but quite a few times we've heard it a lot over the last few couple of weeks about Rhys Oates struggling with a bit of a thigh injury, which seems to just keep creeping back in. So when we are missing him, obviously there's a place to be filled there. So I do think Danny Johnson and Jordan Bowery are going to get an opportunity. So it'll be up to them, especially Danny Johnson when they are on the pitch to take that place.
Yeah, I think another thing with the Johnson situation, similar to Perch, is that thing of actually getting him competitive match minutes. We've had so many of these under-23s fixtures postponed for numerous times, and they'd have been the key games to him. It's all right saying, oh, well, we can just go and pick a game against such and such or whatever, but it needs to be a competitive fixture, and it needs to be a team of a decent standard in order to get the best out of him, to challenge him, to get back to him. Anyway, you could play against 11 people off the street, but that's not going to do anybody's development in terms of getting match fit any good at all, is it? It's got to be a competitive, a good standard.
Yeah, I agree with that, Craig. And he's got to take his chance once he gets it, because we know he's been starved of action. He scored those 3 goals against, was it Newcastle, under 23s?
It was.
Scored that hat-trick, played really, really well. He proved himself as a top finisher. They were the type of goals that he can poach. But like Rawson came in Saturday and played out of his skin. I know he's got to keep his place, but I mean, I can see him keeping his place after that, because he's just stepped in and, taken his chance when it's coming. I think Johnson, I would like to see him get like 20, 30 minutes, just to see if he can, do something instead of the 10 minutes or 5 minutes that sometimes he does get.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll certainly, like Richard says in the comments, they'll get to contribute this month. He says Barry and Johnson will all contribute this month due to the amount of fixtures in March. Absolutely spot on. And he also adds the players on the bench must be chomping to get a start, and that's exactly what you want your players to be doing. A lot of people are still talking about the Rhys Oates goal as well, just talking about the difference between the two. We're going to come on to Ryan Stirk a little bit shortly as well. Plus, we're going to look ahead to that huge, massive month of March in terms of fixtures, especially the next 2 games against our promotion rivals. It feels so weird to be saying that with absolute comfort now, whereas months ago we'd have been absolutely dreaming of that. But first, it's time to put it to the vote. Who do you want to hear from? Do you want to hear from the Stags boss, Nigel Clough, or do you want to hear from midfielder Matty Longstaff, who spoke after the game on Saturday? As always, we'll put it to the vote, and we'll start with Mark Who, aka Nathan Edge.
I'm going to vote for Matty.
Clive, who are you going to go for?
Longshaft.
Alan?
Matty.
It's a full house, Matty Longstaff. It also means it's the return of what's your favourite biscuit? Anybody want to have a little guess? Alan, what's your guess?
Now then, Matty, I'll go with Garibaldi.
He says, what's his favourite biscuit? Not what school did he go to?
Well, I like it was Garibaldi, pet. Alan's going Garibaldi. Clive?
Chocolate digestive.
Okay.
Milk chocolate.
Come on.
Milk chocolate digestive. Nathan, what are you going for?
That's exactly what I was going to go for as well.
Oh.
So are you sticking with that, or are you going to pick another one just to mix it up?
I'm sticking with it. I've got a feeling.
Garibaldi, milk chocolate digestive. What will it be? What will Matty Longstaff's favourite biscuit be? And more importantly, what are his thoughts on Saturday's game and life at the Stags so far? Here he is speaking to me pitch side after the 2-0 win at Bradford for Mansfield 103.2. Well done, 3 points in the bag and a goal for you as well. You must be delighted with that.
Yeah, massive. I think it's important to pick up 3 points after drawing the last couple. We should have won last week, so we're disappointed. So we come here knowing that we have to win games to achieve our goal, and obviously we've done that.
Talk us through your goal, because it looked like it took a bit of deflection on the way in, but it doesn't matter, does it, in the end? I saw you peel away and celebrate with 2,000 fans. I wish I was in there, to be fair.
Same, to be fair, it was bouncing, wasn't it? But yeah, I think it was a bit scruffy. I think Oates does well to screen the goalie, and then obviously takes a bit of deflection, but I guess you take anything that comes, so I'll take that one.
Of course, it's the first time really that you've dropped down to this level at League Two. How are you finding it early doors?
I'm loving it, to be honest. You've got to fight, second balls, tackles, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far, so long may it continue.
Just tell us a little bit more about what appealed to you about Mansfield Town then, because we heard a very funny story from CEO David Sharp at the recent fans forum. We were saying he met your agent or something on holiday, so how did that sort of come about for you?
To be fair, I got a phone call from Newcastle just kind of saying that Mansfield are interested. Obviously I got on the phone with the gaffer, and to be honest, when someone of his calibre rings you and says he wants to bring you in, you don't really hesitate. Obviously what he's done in the game's unbelievable, and I've only heard great stuff, and from what I've been with him, the couple of weeks I've been here has been unbelievable, so yeah, I'm really glad I came.
How are you finding this loan spell compared to your last one? Because it didn't quite go to plan for you, did it?
No, it didn't, but that's football. Not everything goes your way. I'm thoroughly enjoying this one. Like I said, the manager and his staff have been unbelievable, and so have the lads. The lads have been unbelievable. Obviously, Aberdeen was a learning experience, but now I'm here, I'm ready to go, and I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead.
How are you finding these Mansfield Town supporters? Because on social media they've been quite vocal as well, and you obviously got a taste of it this afternoon as well.
Today they were unbelievable. They were definitely the 12th man, and when we started tire a bit, 60th, 70th minute, they were unbelievable. They were loud, they were proud, and they kept us going, and they're going to be massive for us for the rest of the season.
Fantastic. And of course, you know, when you're on loan, what's it like for a player that comes on loan, obviously a long way from home? Is it difficult to sort of settle and adapt, because on the pitch it looks like you've just slotted straight in?
Yeah, I think that goes down to the manager, his backroom staff and the players, like I've said. They've kind of given us trust, and I've come in, and to be fair, the lads in there have been unbelievable with us, made us feel comfortable from the day I walked in. I think that makes a big difference and gives you a bit of confidence, so I can only thank them.
And you've yet to sample a home game. You get to do it next Friday at home to Exeter, a team that are right up there as well. You're looking forward to making your home debut? Yeah, definitely, hopefully I do. The other games you want to play in where it's going to be a bit, you know, when they're near the top and we're all battling for the spots, are the games you want to play, and you want to do something in it to kind of move Mansfield up, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. What sort of dressing room have you walked into? An unbelievable one. The lads are unbelievable. They took me straight in, made me feel comfortable, and I'm just really looking forward to playing with them for the rest of the season. Is that encouragement and that sort of welcome feeling really, really vital for you to be able to go out and play your game? Because I've seen lone players that come in before feel a little bit alienated out of sorts and don't perform as well. I'm not sure, maybe. But for me, I just kind of come in here, I want to kind of show what I can do. Hopefully each game I'm going to get better and better. I still think I can be better as an individual, but as a team I think we've been very good the last couple of weeks. And like I said before, the lads in the change room have been unbelievable. So I think when they're doing the business before I come in, it kind of makes it a bit easier to come into. From what you've seen, has this squad got what it takes to get us to League One? I hope so. Obviously time will tell, but I definitely think we've got the talent and the commitment in there to give it a real good go. And of course, what's your message to those Stags fans who came out, backed you today, and will of course be looking forward to seeing you on home turf next Friday? Just a massive thank you, and obviously their following gives us the 12th man, like I've said many times, and I'm looking forward to getting them, to seeing the fans at home and hopefully give them something to cheer about. Fantastic stuff. And final, last curveball question from me. Both gingers, what's your favourite biscuit? Mine? Probably a custard cream, but I'm not really allowed milk, so I have to have a day off the next day. It's a great choice. We'll go see if you can find some. I think you've earned it after today's thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, mate. It was a custard cream.
Unbelievable.
Well done, Chris Hope.
Yes. Unbelievable custard cream. Unbelievable. Matty Longstaff there speaking to me from Mansfield 103.2 after the game. And I will continue my quest to find out players' favourite biscuits for you in the future, if and when I can. Because it seems to be getting a lot of traction. People are asking me now to ask the question. So I will keep the getting game going.
The poor lad's gone from being interviewed in the Premier League by Sky Sports and all that to Craig Brees asking about his biscuits. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Really is unbelievable. Really is. Anyway, let's move back to other Mansfield matters. Of course, you can watch more from Matty. You can also see more from Nigel Clough on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check out our social media as well for all the post-match interviews on there. And you can see more from Nigel Clough and Stephen McLaughlin on I Follow Stags following their press conferences today. And, of course, the Stags back on the road. We're going to be on the road a lot this month, including a trip to Tranmere Rovers next Friday, a week on Friday. For more information on prices, departure time, and all of that jazz, you can call the Stag Supporters Association on
07967 689 597.
And that number, if you missed it,
07967 689 597.
Guess who didn't have it written down again? Anyway, moving on. Moving swiftly on, let's go back to all things Mansfield Town. Somebody in the comments earlier mentioned Ryan Stirk in terms of what player he's turning out to be for us. Just trying to find which who said it so I can give them the credit. Mark said it. We need to sign Stirk. He's a bit of an unsung, but he's becoming a very, very good player. I keep referring to him in commentary, Clive, as like a little Fagin because he picks a pocket or two.
I think, I think he's a player that took a couple of games to find himself, and since then he's been very instrumental in just about everything that we've done well. But he does it quietly, and I like that.
Yeah, he's a very competent player, isn't he, Alan? He's a player who gets on the ball. He can see, he can read a pass, he can intercept, he's got quick feet when he needs to have quick feet. He makes things happen as well. He's a real battler and very similar to Nathan Bishop. You know, we sing his praises a lot, and you know we're thankful to have him in on loan. And next season, if it was available, I'd certainly be looking to get Stirk back as well because I think he adds a real dynamic to our team. Sometimes I think we actually forget that he is not actually our player.
And I don't know if you've noticed as well, he can do the dirty side as well. If a chap's going through one-on-one, or it looks to be one-on-one, it can put his foot in where it hurts as well. And I think he'll also, if, how Nigel said earlier on the I Follow, anybody that's watched it, he said about, Quinn not making Saturday, Tuesday. I think he could be the perfect foil in front of Macca.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's that sort of player. He can sort of fit anywhere across that midfield, Nathan. We were at the start of the season, we were a little bit like, yeah, he's a great impact player to come off the bench, but he's proved us wrong in that respect. He's like every other player when they arrived. We forget that he'd not really had much footballing experience before he came to us in terms of, senior competitive standard. And he's bedded in very, very well indeed.
Yeah, and I think not long after joining us, he picked up a bit of a knock, didn't he? So we was missing him for a few weeks. I remember during that time, Nigel Clough was saying how we were missing a key player, and there's a few people questioning that, saying how is he a key player when he's barely played for us? But I think we're absolutely seeing why, aren't we? Obviously, Clough knew what he was capable of and what he would bring to the team, and it's not very often you get a young lone player who you would say is one of your first names on your team sheet, and especially in a strong midfield position where we've got so many talented players. So you got to give him credit. Not only has he come in and obviously picked up a knock early on, but he's overcome that. He's had to pick up get him match fitness and match experience and learn as he goes along. And he's a young player settling in a new team, so he's done all that. And when he did join, we weren't doing too well. So he's had to overcome quite a lot, and he's just, like you said, gone about it quietly. And for me, he's one of those first names on the starting team sheet.
I think Chris has hit the nail on the head, Clive, in the comments by saying when Stirk was out for one game, we had no one in control of the centre circle.
No, I think as well, with Lapsley not being back to full availability, that gap was evident. We needed somebody in there to control the game, and Stirk's taken that role. And I think if provided he's fit, he's probably better for us than Lapsley, even when Lapsley was fully fit.
Yeah, Lapsley, it's an interesting one with him because of the position he offers. I don't quite think he necessarily fits into the way we're playing at the moment with that sort of 4-3-3/4-3-2-1, but it's good to see him back all the same. Back to Stirk, though, Alan, and what Richard says is also true. With the position Birmingham are in financially, he may be one we could buy, unlike Bishop, and I'd be all for that.
It'd be a quality acquisition, wouldn't it? It'd be one of those that you could like build a team round and mould it around him because, like, was it Chris said about the centre circle? Like Clive said as well, when Lapsley was out, we didn't have that specific player to play that role. But I think Stirk, since he's come in, has done what Rawson's got to do, and Barry did to a certain extent, when he came in, and take his chance. And boy, has he took his chance.
Yeah, he certainly has. I think we were talking about Barry being Player of the Month last month, Nathan. You can now vote for your Stag supporters Player of the Month via the club's official website. Plenty of players to choose from. Obviously, 5 matches in February, winning 2 and drawing the other 3. Stirk, for me, is going to be one of those contenders. What would your thoughts be on that, Nath?
Yeah, it'd certainly be up there. There's a few that you could throw into the mix. I mean, I'm again following on from Saturday, but Elliot Hewitt is one as well, who I think we've been saying has been improving as time's gone on, but he's been pretty solid as well for the last few weeks. So for me, he'd be certainly up there this for this month in particular. But no, like I say, Ryan Stirk, I think he's one of them that you probably would notice more when he's not in the team how much you actually miss him. So, but being a young player, fingers crossed he'll be one that stays fit. But like I say, the midfield area is so strong, and you at the moment you kind of fancy anything to come in and go and do a job. And I think with the return of Lapsley, even though he may have not been the player of last year, I still think that player's there, and he will come back, and it will come strong, and for me, he might come strong at the right time in the season, which could be the last sort of 10 games or so, when he's had a bit of a run in the team again. We might see more from him. So it's all positive at the moment with that sort of strength in numbers we've got there.
Says a lot, doesn't it, Alan, when you look at the bench on Saturday and you think, well, not starting in the midfield, Ollie Clark didn't start. You've got Lapsley on the bench as well. Perch can play in there. You've still got O'Toole to come back who can play in there as well. There are so many players that aren't getting in at the minute, and we've just got so much quality there now in the ranks. And I genuinely believe that the January transfer window we had played a massive part in that, because without those players there, I think we'd be, you take away 1 or 2 key players and we're struggling. But now we can miss 3 or 4 players, and I've still got the confidence that we've got enough about us to continue the vein of form that we're on.
I think it was the best January window I can ever remember for a long time, to be fair. And I think going back to Stirk, I think he's a different kind of player to Lapsley. I think we could accommodate both if need be, because Lapsley is liable to score, a goal. And, as you regarding about quality on the bench, I was gutted when I heard you say the teams for Saturday and Clark was on the bench because he was my scorer. I was praying he were going to come on, but obviously that didn't happen. But, things like that, it can only bode well for the future because, like I say, you look at the bench and you think, crike. I bet it frightens some other teams when they look at our bench after looking at, when Oates is flying through and everything else. It might send shivers down their spines.
Well, on the whole Clark thing, Clough did say to me after the game off air that it was a debate between Clark and Maris for that one, but once he'd listened to the podcast on the way to the game and heard that you'd put Clark down as a scorer, he decided to play Maris. So that is not true. That's not true. I'm making that last bit up. I don't know if you listened or not, but there you go. Right, let's turn our attentions elsewhere, Clive. Let's start by looking ahead to the month we're going to dub Mental March, because the fixtures are absolutely going to come thick and fast. Let's go through them. Exeter to kick it off at home on Friday night. Tranmere then the following Friday on the 11th, a trip to Tranmere. Tuesday the 15th is a trip to Port Vale. So 3 games coming up against promotion contenders. Stevenage then on Saturday the 19th at home, and then another treble away away period for us. Rochdale on the 22nd, Tuesday night. Trip to Oldham on the 26th, on Saturday the 26th, and then finish the month with a trip up to Hartlepool on Tuesday the 29th. Could this be make or break March?
Of course. I mean, the thing is, on paper, they're all winnable, but equally, they're all losable. And I think we won't lose them all. I'd be surprised if we win them all, but I think we'll take more than the average number of points away from the month. I'm looking forward to Friday. I think that's going to be an interesting game for us because there's a lot about what Exeter does that I find quite appealing. And it's another occasion for us to avoid a double. So I think that's going to be a big crowd as well for that match. And then what's after that? It's Tranmere the following Friday, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that because I've not been to Tranmere's ground, so that's a new one for me. I'm going to go on the SSA coach for that one, and then the following Tuesday, Port Vale. Well, I'll drive there. It's a very easy place to get to. But I think all of these games are going to have their own challenges. You'd look at Stevenage as perhaps being the banker in there, but you can't afford to say that. And a month ago, you'd have thought that Oldham was an easy win, but Sheridan's gone there, performed his magic again, and they're on a run. So I think it's going to be a great month to experience, and hopefully we'll retain the form we're in and the confidence that we've got because of it.
Yeah, let's certainly hope so. I think tonight's games will play a big part into how the month starts to shape up as well. Obviously, we're talking at 8 o'clock on Tuesday, the 1st of March on the live podcast. At the moment, after 13 minutes, the league leaders, Forest Green Rovers, starting to stutter. They are 1-0 down. They are 1-0 down tonight away at Newport County, so they're starting to stutter as well. Also tonight,
could have done us a favour.
I know. Northampton playing. They've got up to second at the moment. They're at home to Walsall. Also, Harrogate against Port Vale tonight. So there's 3 or 4 key games in there which we'll be keeping our eye on. But back to the fixture list for us, Nathan. How do you break it down? Because it's very, very difficult to sort of look at it on paper and go, oh my God, we've got an absolutely mental March. We've got games left, right and centre. Do you break it down into the first 3 games against the promotion rather than say, look, I'd be happy to get 7 points or whatever? Do you break it down into half? Do you take it game by game? Because for me, the way we've been going, I think the sensible approach would be to take it game by game. We cannot afford to start thinking, well, if we beat Exeter and then we beat Tranmere, we can be right up there. Let's just keep that one game by one game momentum going.
I think that's what the players and the management staff will be saying game by game. It's what they've been saying for a long time, isn't it? And I think that's all you can do, really, because obviously you're focusing on your next match that's coming up. And obviously, when it's against someone like Exeter on a decent run themselves, and obviously are up there, we've got to really focus on, first of all, obviously their threats, but also how we can hurt them. So, and the good thing is that, I know it's going to be a hectic month, but at least this one's Friday night, and then we've got another week to prepare for Tranmere. So it's a slow start to a hectic month, so it gives us time to prepare in that sense. But I think for me personally, I think you kind of do break it down into 3 games from maybe a fan's point of view, don't you? So you look at it as those first 3 are 3 really tough games. At the fact that they're against playoff rivals, they're going to be hard. And I think as supporters, we kind of forgot what it's like to lose, haven't we? So I think we need to just maybe, we had a few people wobble when we have a couple of draws, and we need to avoid that. I think the chances are we probably are going to lose one, this month. But if we do, we need to acknowledge that it's not the end of the world, and we just need to bounce back. So, but we've got to appreciate we are coming up against some really tough opposition.
Yeah, what's your take on it, Alan? Because like Nathan says, there are a lot of tough opposition to come, especially Friday night. It's first versus second in the form guide in the last 10 games. Stags top, Exeter second. We'll have the mental advantage because of the fans. Like David Sharp said at the fans forum a few weeks ago, moving it to the Friday night means there'll be even less Exeter fans coming up for it. So it gives us that little bit of advantage, but we can't afford that complacent mindset.
Definitely not. And I think Nigel will drill it into the players about, this unbeaten winning run. I don't mind us, and I think he'll say the same. I don't mind you drawing against Exeter on Friday, but let's not lose the game because, the more this unbeaten run keeps going, I know he prefers it out of 3 games, he'd prefer to win 2 and lose 1 instead of win 1 and draw 2 because it's 1 more point, which I can appreciate. But I would like to keep this unbeaten run going, irrespective whether it's draws or wins, because it does keep it going, and it gets the other teams, looking at what we're doing. And I think that's a good thing for Mansfield.
On the flip side of that, Clive, there's a certain hype which will be starting to be built up now. There are more games we go unbeaten, things like that. It's a journalist's job to do that, and we'll never apologise for it. And I think it does potentially add to it, but there's also a danger of it getting to fans' heads at some point. I think, like Nathan said, there was a few wobbles when we drew a few. So I think we've got to be prepared to accept a defeat in this little run, because it's, well, I say it's bound to happen. I probably said that at the start of February as well, but you never know in football, do you? We can't afford. The longer it goes on, the more dangerous. What I'm trying to say is, the longer it goes on unbeaten, the more dangerous a defeat becomes mentally, I think.
Well, I'm not sure the players worry about it as much as the fans do. I think, professional football has recognised that defeat's part of the game, and it's a question of how you deal with it and where you go from there. But let's look at the positives. We've gone 3 months without losing. We've got 2 or 3, maybe even 4 by the end of today, games in hand over some teams we're challenging against. And we've learned how to not ship goals. I don't think we've shipped more than 1 goal from field play at all in the last 6 games, have we? Most of the goals have been penalties or corners and free kicks.
I think the last 6 games we've conceded 2 goals in, and we haven't conceded a goal from open play in the last 6 games. The only 2 conceded are from the free kick at home to Colchester and the penalty at Newport. And I think it might go a little bit. It might go a little bit further than that. It might be 3 and 8, because I think 1 was direct from a corner as well. So,
but that ability isn't going to switch off overnight. So what we've done is we've grown into the roles that the players have now got, and the mini teams within the team working together. And I just think that, together with a first-class goalkeeper, puts us in a position of strength from the start, because we're going to be very hard to beat. That doesn't mean that we're not going to get beat. It doesn't mean we won't have to accept draws on the way. But there's no reason for us to feel fearful of anybody we're playing this month. And we've now got a squad deep enough to deal with it.
Yeah, that's the key thing. It's having the squad there, which is capable of dealing with these games coming thick and fast. I want to just go back to a little point that Clive mentioned in there, though, Nathan. It's about another Nathan Bishop, who got his 10th clean sheet of the season on Saturday at Bradford, with an absolutely phenomenal save as well from Andy Cook's header. The one time that Cook managed to just get out of the parapet of Farron Rawson's pocket to get something on the end of the ball. But again, it's testament to his commitment and his agility and his alertness, because it'd be so easy when you play in the way that we are to switch off. His concentration is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I think Faz probably wanted to give Bishop his opportunity to get his camera shot, didn't he? So
that's what it was.
Idea behind it. But no, I think I remember an interview. I can't remember what game it was after, but Nigel Clough obviously was saying about Bishop that he was a bit frustrated the fact that he wasn't keeping clean sheets, which I think some people saw it as a criticism to Bishop. But I don't think it was. I think it was more of an annoyance that he wasn't facing that many shots, but annoyingly some of them were just leading to goals because of whether they were coming from a mistake or not necessarily from him, but from somebody or somewhere. So it was a bit of frustration, but to get 10 clean sheets is quite impressive when you think of what of a bad run we went on at the start of the season. And when you take into consideration, like we said, three goals in the last 8 games, none of those have been from open play. So it shows that, one, the players in front of them have improved, their game, that's for sure. But 2, he's also stepping up when he has to, and we're showing exactly what what a great signing he's been on loan, and I echo what a lot of people were saying sort of a couple of weeks ago is. I think we all would love to have him next season, but I think it's only going to be if we manage to get up into League One. So to hopefully get him on another loan. So you never know, but it certainly showed his worth for us.
I'm going to have to put my cards on the table here. I think even if we go up to League One, I think we'd have to have a really good deal on the table for him to come. I think United would be wanting him to play champ at the very, very least. But you never know. Football's a funny old game. I'm going to pose this question to you, which has been posed in the comments from Ellen through YouTube. And I just wanted to get your reactions to it, really. The comment says, Exeter is a must-win game. Real test for the back four without Hawkins or O'Toole. Is it a must-win game? I'll start with you, Alan, then I'll go to you, Nathan, and I'll finish on you, Clive. Alan?
No, personally, I don't think it is. I think we can afford to draw it. It'd be nice to win, don't get me wrong, and I think we will win. I think we will beat Exeter on Friday, but I wouldn't class it as a must-win. Not in my opinion, anyway.
Nathan?
Not must. I mean, it's an opportunity. The fact that we're at home, whereas the next two are both away against playoff opposition. So it'd be nice to get it done and dusted at home. If anything, it'll be just nice to not lose. The fact that it's kind of a 6-pointer in that sense. So obviously they can't pull away if they, and I think they'll look at it in the same way. So a draw would be sufficient, but with home advantage, a win would be nice. But I wouldn't say it's a must.
Clive?
There's incredible expectation on us to win, and that was the only reason that we ought to categorise it as a must-win, because I actually don't believe any of the remaining fixtures are must-win fixtures. It's about the average running through, and I think if we maintain anything like the average we've been in the last couple of months, we will be in the automatic promotion zone. So I think people need to just chill a little bit when it comes to games that don't quite match up to expectation, because that's going to happen. And, we can't... One thing's for sure, the teams that we play against are going to try and beat us. And occasionally they'll be slightly better than us on the day. And that's something we've got to learn to live with.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially there's still at least a third of the season to go. And I think one thing's important to stress as well is you look at the amount of games played, and with the exception of Exeter City, we have got games in hand over everybody above us, at least one game in hand, in some cases 2 or 3 games in hand, and pretty much all of the sides beneath us all the way down to, in fact, every single side beneath us, we've got games in hand over as well. The only team we haven't got a game in hand over is Exeter City in the league, and I think that says a lot for how the season's going to go. Let's delve into some more of the comments. Talking about Forest Green earlier, they're still 1-0 down as we speak, away at Newport County. Chris says their bubble hasn't burst, but it's a slow puncture. They'll go up, though, after losing twice to the Stags. Of course, yes, we've still got them twice to play, which will be in relatively quick succession. And do you know what? That could well be a talking point later on in a few games' time. Richard says, I'd be happy with 12 points and not to lose to the teams around us. So if we draw the next 3 games, it's not the end of the world. Ellen saying that Barry deserves to start in their opinion. Bradford was the must-win game, says Chris. Roger says Stags are overall the best all-round team in the league, in my opinion, simply because everyone else is scoring goals apart from Bishop. Well, give it chance. Give it chance. Also, as well, Richard says first job on Friday is keep the midfield. Is the midfielders keeping Dieng shackled? It's not a must-win game. Talking of a must-win game, that is podcast predictions. That's all we've got time for in terms of the general chat tonight. As always, my thanks for you for getting involved in the comments. Podcast predictions time, and it is a must-win game now because for the first time in a long while, I've got some devastating news. I have fallen out of the top 3, and I'm not happy about it. Not happy about it. Here is the top 10 as it stands at the moment. Ricky is still clinging on in 10th. He's got his mug now, Nath. Yeah, have you actually handed it to him?
He actually hasn't.
Oh my God!
Which is quite amusing. And just while you're on the subject of Ricky, hopefully he's listening. But He's also one of the fans that missed both goals on Saturday, which I thought was also quite amusing.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, he's not entered for a while. I think it's because he's not had
He's on strike.
And I have to say that I gave it Nathan 2 weeks ago now. I mean, I know I appreciate it was slow from our end getting it over, but that's been the case for a lot of people. But to be fair to me, I did bring it across. I just didn't know that you weren't in the bloody country. So that's miscommunication on Nathan's part. And then I gave it Nathan when we went to the meet the manager night, the thingy night, and he still hasn't given you. That was 2 weeks ago. So blame Nathan. Anyway, Ricky is still in 10th, clinging on with 15 points. Then Roger is in 9th place on 21 points. Alan, you still sit in 8th with Cam just above you, both on 22 points. Then there's a jump up to 6th where it's Steve Naden on 31. Nick Felton, Cam's dad, is on 38 points in 5th place. He's hunting me down. I'm in 4th on 39. And then is a tie for 2nd place at the moment. Steve in 3rd on 40 points. Clive is in 2nd on 40 points. Nathan, 4-point lead at the top at the moment with 44 points in podcast predictions. But will things change when I introduce my brand new rule, which Nathan doesn't know about?
I'll start breaking things. It's going to be a stitch up. I can just see it coming.
This is a little in joke. We said that if you get the prediction bang on, you could take points off somebody else who didn't do it. And Nathan, in his ill state, kicked off about it. And just to clarify, Nathan, I won't be doing that unless I drop out of the top 5. Anyway, right, let's go through some predictions then. Let's start in order of top to bottom. Nathan, you're the leader, so give me your score prediction for the Stags home game with Exeter City on Friday night under the One Call lights.
2-1 victory. I'm calling Clough's bluff. Oates will be playing, so Oates will get 1 and Macca will get the other.
Oh, your favourite player, Stephen McLaughlin.
Love him. Absolutely love him.
Captain extraordinaire. Next up is Clive. What's your prediction?
2-0 win. Oates, Akins.
Excellent. Me next. I am going to also back us for another clean sheet. And do you know what? I'm going to say we're going to win 3-0. I don't know. I've got a positive feeling about it. I'm also going to go for Rhys Oates to get on the score sheet. I'm also going to back Mr. Rawson to get himself a goal from a corner. And do you know what? I've got a funny feeling that one of the midfielders are going to pop up with a goal again. And I'm going to back Ryan Stirk to get on the score sheet. It's a bit of a
good shout.
Left field one, but I think he's due one. Cam would be next, but he's not here tonight. Clearly, there's a Hollyoaks omnibus we don't know about, which is interrupting his podcasting time. I'm sure he'll send us his in the chat as long as he does it before Friday. It's all good. Alan, you're next to complete the sets.
I'm not copying off Nathan, but I did say to myself earlier on, I fancy 2-1. I think they will score first, and then we'll put 2 past them in the second half on a rallying call, and it'll be Oates and Murphy.
Oh, Rhys Oates and Jamie Murphy to get on the score sheet. Chris in the comments says 4-0 Stags. Mark says 2-1 Stags. But do you know what, Nathan Edge?
Got to do it in the link.
Yeah, those predictions do not count. If you want to get involved with podcast predictions, you have to do it via the link in the description, and you have to do it 1 hour and 1 minute before kickoff on Friday night. The link that you need is in the description. Make sure you get involved with that. That's all we've got time for tonight. Usually I would at this point end by playing the highlights, but because of the technical on Saturday, it's just not conducive. I did manage, though, however, to do a little bit of editorial work. I did task Cam with doing it, but again, I think Hollyoaks must have been on. But I did manage to merge together some recorded audio from the side of the pitch to overlay over the top of the commentary, which resulted in this.
There is McLaughlin, who has to go back to Bishop from Bishop's bowl out. Bishop this time clears it with his right boot up towards Longstaff. Flicked on by the Bradford man, and now Rhys Oates has found a pocket of space. Oates to the right of the box. Can he cut it back? Here's Rhys Oates left for a shot, and it's in! It's a great strike by Rhys Oates, and on 43 minutes, it's Bradford City 0, Mansfield Town 1, and that, Jason Law, is what Rhys Oates does best.
What a finish there by Oates. He stuck it top bins. Stags are leading. What more could you want?
And this.
McLaughlin on the left-hand side, ball in towards the middle, it's taken well by Quinn, back to Murphy who hits it, force raise, now Longstaff, and it's gone in! It's over the line! And Matty Longstaff has put Mansfield Town 2 goals to the good! It's his first goal in Stags colours on 48 minutes! He sends the Stags fans into absolute pandemonium! Bradford City 0, Mansfield Town 2.
Great finish there by Matty. I mean, bit of a deflection, but great. Started off great play down the left. Mako and Murphy played the ball into the box. Quinny's got it. He set Murph. Murph's had a shot deflected, fell to Matty, and he slotted it in. Great finish. And 2-0 to the Stags. Got that second goal that we needed.
Normal service will be resumed for Friday night's game. My thanks, as ever, to everybody listening and getting involved tonight, as always. If you can't make it to One Call Stadium on Friday night, make sure you tune into Mansfield 103.2 from 6 p.m. Jason Harrison has all the build-up for you, and then Lee Wilson back alongside me in the commentary box as Exeter City come to town. And then make sure you join us next week as we recap that Exeter game and look ahead to a big trip to Tranmere. Mental March is around the corner. Can the Stags continue their unbeaten run and stake their claim in the promotion race? This is the show for the fans, by the fans. This is the Mansfield Matters podcast. The Stags are hunting down the podium. And just to add at the end as well, usually the guys backstage sort of stay around and have a little listen to the highlights. As soon as I started playing the outro jingle, Alan went, because he loves the highlights, and this is his response to not having the highlights on the show.
That's a travesty. Absolute travesty.
Normal service will be resumed next week. Goodbye.